Hey, Brett Kitchen here with another myth we're going to bust today, and that is that you can live off 4% of your nest egg and never run out. And this is something that has been taught in the Wall Street kind of financial circles for years and years as almost gospel. That's like, oh, yeah, it's the 4% rule. It's the 4% rule. And it was invented, created back in the 80s when the situation in our economic financial worlds were totally different. And so what you end up with now is, well, if you try to live off the 4% rule, you could run out of money. And so you really can't do 4%. Maybe you can do 3%. And then some of the studies say, well, really only 2.8%. Some of them show 2.5%, which says if you've got $1 million, you can only take what, 25, 30 grand out a year before taxes? That seems crazy. So why is that the case? Well, the thing that nobody likes to account for in these kind of hypothetical situations is the reality of variable nest eggs. So if you had $1 million today and the market goes down 30%, now you've got 700,000. What are you taking out? Are you taking 4% of your million? Well, if that's the case, you got 40,000. And so then if your account goes down to 700,000 and you take out 40,000, you're really taking out closer to 6%. Well, 6% doesn't seem outrageous, does it? No, it's not outrageous, but what does that do to your actual account when your money is going down in value? Well, you're locking in losses. So you're taking out the 40,000 this year, and you're taking out the 40,000 next year, and you're continuing to take out that 40,000 because you need the money to live on in retirement. And you may not be experiencing any growth at all. You may have a couple of down years, and in those years, then you are literally locking in losses because you're taking capital out that's never going to, quote unquote, come back when the market responds. And so that's why the estimations have continued to kind of come down and be like, well, you got to be really careful. You got to only take 3% or 2.5%. And obviously you don't have to live that way. There are other alternatives, but if you're counting on the 4% being there, just know that a lot of the studies now are showing with the Monte Carlo simulations and the actual reality of the boots on the ground of our economics today is that is not what it used to be. And because of that, you could run out of money years sooner. I mean, if you happen to hit at just the wrong time when you go into retirement and a couple of bad years happen right after you retire and you're starting to take withdrawals, then it can be very, very problematic because historically it's going to take about 5-6 years just to get back to where you were before. And if you're taking withdrawals that whole time, your 700,000 goes down to 660. You got to take another 40,000 out and you're down at 620, and now you're into 580s, and you're like, wait a minute, 3 years ago I had $1 million and now I'm down at 580. How much longer can this go? And then when the rebound does happen, it's going to take substantially longer and a higher return just to get back to where you were before. So maybe want to consider some other strategy than just living off the 4% rule, because it might not be all it's cracked up to be.